They just picked up Monte Morris, sneaky veteran Wiley veteran pickup. He back up Mike Conley. I don't know if we should go. Who should go first here? Hold on a second. Super chat from Siomana. That would be Mama Perspective.
Wow.
$20 in the building.
Shout out to
Are you
Mom.
sure? That might be my dad's assistant.
No, your dad's assistant name's Siomana?
Yeah.
That's my mom's name. She might smack me for saying her name on air. So again, that is Mama Flea. I mean, Mama Perspective.
Dude,
Thank you,
might
Mom.
be my dad's assistant. I'm dead serious.
It's
She's
not. There's no way.
She's a very generous, nice person.
My mom is in the house, bro.
is,
She's back there. She did it on purpose.
Minnesota
Timberwolves.
Thank you to both. Thank you to both.
Right.
So, Minnesota Timberwolves, number one team in the West. What do we feel? What is the shocker? Are we still shocked? Do we see them? What are we seeing here? Flea, go first.
I'll jump in here and say this. It's Mom. It is Mom. There we go.
I meant my dad. By the way, I just wanted to clarify. My dad's a dentist. I meant a dental assistant, not a personal assistant. We're not rolling like that. My dad's not rolling like that.
I mean, you just said your dad is a dentist, so calm down.
Hey, man, still personal assistant. I barely know anybody with a personal assistant.
Shout out to Mama Fabian. Let's just move. Let's just
Mama
move.
Perspective.
Mama Perspective. Excuse me. Let's move on. Sorry about that. Minnesota Timberwolves. I did not have them as the number one seed going into the All-Star break. To revisit my list, I absolutely had the Los Angeles Lakers finishing number one in the Western Conference. That is awful. Shout out to X, man. Shout out to Art.
Shout out Super Chat.
They are making their name on the defensive end, y'all. Ant Edwards is taking the leap. I love how locked in Karl-Anthony Towns is on the defensive end. Like everything about what Gobert does is trickling down to Karl-Anthony Towns. He's not just focused on shooting the three. He's not just focused on being a perimeter big. He's actually getting his hands dirty and being a rim defender. Being a guy that takes defense seriously. I've never, ever seen him like this. Even when Thibodeau was the head coach in Minnesota, even when Jimmy Butler was there in Minnesota, Karl-Anthony Towns looks like he's approaching the defensive end to a different degree, some in a way that I've never seen him approach it. And Ant-Man is ascending into the all-star, superstar level player that I've been screaming about for almost a year now. I think he's the player that I'm the highest on in the NBA right now in terms of young guys. Everything about his game. I don't care what it is. Shooting from all three levels, being a three-point shooter, being a guy that hits the mid-range, being a guy that could go downhill. He obviously could put you, your mama, your daddy, and the rest of your family in the rim, right? So, like, this dude is he's the real deal. So, as he gets better and better, along with their ancillary pieces, Gobert playing at the defensive of the year level, Cat playing outstanding. Who do we just mentioned? McDaniels is probably one of the better perimeter defenders in the league. Like somebody that is not a household name, but if you sit down and watch some games of this kid really, really sits in the chair and defends. But I think an underrated aspect of that team is Mike Conley and Chris Finch. I think Chris Finch is doing an amazing job as a coach. Challenging those dudes. I saw a quote maybe a month or two ago, and they hit a tough stretch, and Chris Finch called out his best player, Anthony Edwards. You got to be better on defense. You got to be better. And from that point on, I think he's become much better on the defensive end. I wouldn't have called this, y'all. I wouldn't have called this, but I like Minnesota. I like what they're doing. They have playoff experience, and so you build on that from last year, and you go from there.
We gotta hear from Dom because he loves Rudy Gobert so much, having a resurgent season. when the West Coast rival Clippers. What do you think about the Timberwolves so far? Has Gobert impressed you? Being on the second stint, number one defense still, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, what are your overall thoughts with the Timberwolves?
Man, Flea said a lot of the things that I was going to say, but they gave me a real reality check the other day when they killed us. And it showed me, because it's the second game we played against them. It's not just a one game. Everyone's going to say it's just one game. But we played them twice. And there are some things I'm just seeing. You know what I'm saying? And one thing that I'm seeing is they guard. Like, they are the best defensive team in the league. And it's very easy to see it. I've watched every team play at this point multiple times. They're the best defensive team in the league. Rudy Gobert, for all the shit I give him, it's mostly about his offense. I don't think Rudy Gobert's gotten super exposed defensively in the playoffs. I really think the Jazz just had nobody that could stay in front of the ball. So you just have to help all the time. And then sometimes, maybe once or twice per game, he overhelped. But for the most part, I don't think he was that awful on defense. Now, offensively, totally different conversation. But now he actually has great point of attack defenders with him. And let me be real about Jaden McDaniels. Flea was being nice, but I'm going to be nicer. He might be, it's him and OG to me, best perimeter defenders in the league. It's those two. He's that good from what I've seen. He really, I'm not saying Kawhi won't still get his, but he's going to have to work hard for those 30 in the playoffs if we play them. And he hasn't scored 30 so far against them. One thing we really need, though, against in that matchup is if it's a Zubats, but I'm not trying to make this a Clipper thing, but my point is I still think they can't win the championship this year. I think they need some trials and tribulations in the playoffs. I don't know if they'll end the 1 seed. It'll be very impressive if they do. One of the most surprising I've ever seen. But they can go to the conference finals. I believe in that now. I think they can go to the conference finals. Ant-Man is that dude. He's averaging career highs in points. He's averaging career high in field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, free throw percentage, and assists. I mean, and he guards. And he guards. So, special player. And he's got that it factor. You know what I'm saying? And we know this. We've talked about this. He's fearless. I think the one thing I got to say about Ant-Man, and it's going to hurt him in the playoffs, he settles way too much for threes. I know he's shooting well from 3 this year, but I think he might have the best first step in the league right now, or up there. Like, he literally gets by anybody he wants, and he elevates at the rim like crazy, and he's so strong. He's one of the best athletes in the NBA. So, like, against the Clippers, he went 1 for 11 from 3 and 7 for 7 from 2.
And the one he hit was a bank shot.
Right. But he intended for it, which was
badass.
He
did. Because he went back and tried to hit another one. I don't know if you saw that down. He took another one and missed it awfully. Right. Which was embarrassing. They made a statement to us, though, that we're the number 1 seed. We're holding on to this. And I'll give Gobert his props. I know how great of a rim protector he is, but I will say it stands out when you see him playing alongside other very good defenders. They're great at the point of attack, and they have that rim protection. And then, as you said, Cat is much more engaged defensively than I've ever seen him. He's been available this season. That's a big thing with Cat. He's played 53 games. You know, he's only missed 1 game. Last year, he played 29 games. And Fabian was right. I got to give it to him. Early in the season, when he told me, I said, what's the difference between Minnesota this year and last year? And he said, well, Cat is healthy. And I said, okay. But that's because I assume Cat's going to be, you know, the soft, settling, complaining for fouls Cat. But this year, I like the way he's playing, the way he played against us. He punished us for going too small. And that's my criticism with Cat. It's always been. In Kentucky, he was such a good post-up big. When I saw him shooting in the NBA from deep like that, I was like, man, inside, outside, he could average 30 points a game. He's been nowhere close to that. He's averaging 22.5 right now, and his shooting splits are amazing. Let me just look at him real quick. 52% from the field and 44 from 3 and 87.5 from the line. That's ridiculous. So he's definitely go ahead. No, he's borderline 50, 40, 90. But go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead, John.
Exactly. So, and he's more engaged defensively. I think Chris Finch is really smart about the way that they don't just randomly switch Gobert and Cat. Like, they don't do switch everything. They're very selective. They love to keep Gobert and drop because he's so good around the rim. And I got to give credit to Conley, as much as it pains me. How is he better than Chris Paul now? His defense is so good still. I don't get it. And he's always going to add to the collective basketball IQ of your team. And then off the bench, they got 6'6" long arm Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Kyle Anderson coming off the bench. And Naz Reid, who's one of the best bench players in basketball. Man.
Yes, give Naz Reid some love. Jesus Christ, that dude is playing out of his mind.
And I think it's smart that they play Towns and Naz Reid together because you still have the size and they both can shoot and put the ball on the floor. It's a unique team. I'm not going to lie. And the reason why I'm fairly high on them now is because they got that number one. It's all about Cat, though. He's the X factor to me. You know what Gobert is going to do. You know what? I don't want to say you know what the Ant-Man's going to do, but you know he's going to be aggressive, which that's the best part. It's not like you're going to be saying, oh, Ant's not shooting the ball. He's not being aggressive. He's always going to be the alpha dog. But Cat, that's the big thing when it comes to playoffs. But you know what? I got all the praise in the world for Minnesota right now. They're doing amazing things, and they are what their record says they are. I'm not saying that they're guaranteed better than a team below them, but they have been the best regular season team in the West. Fact. And that's all I got for them. So congrats, Minnesota fans. If there are any around, congratulations.
Man, I think you guys hit everything on the nose except I'm going to go half glass empty. But before I go there, the Monte Morris deal is amazing because the Minnesota Timberwolves are damn near last in turnover rate in the league. As good as they are, they're damn near last in the league in turnover rate. Monte Morris, check this out. Out of anybody with at least 1,000 assists in the 47 years since turnovers have been recorded, he has the second highest turnover to assist ratio or assist to turnover ratio. Monte Morris has it, the second highest ever. Now, of course, you'll hear me always critique Chris Paul, Rajon Rondo historically, assist hunting, and especially going after that mark right there, the assist to turnover mark. So it's a little bit flawed, of course. But Monte Morris, nobody has ever talked about Monte Morris before today. I don't know. But the Timberwolves took care of that flaw of theirs, the turnovers. They need more possessions where they hold on to the ball, especially with the bench there, because you need Conley to sit down, take a breather, and make sure that the starting lineup or the Naz Reid and Cat lineups, who Naz Reid and Cat were 50, 40, 90 for like a month, the first month in the league. They were the only guys for a while that were 50, 40, 90. And then they fell off, and now Grayson Allen's 50, 40, 90. All right. But Naz Reid is playing excellent, and now they got a guy who, like the Knicks, they were missing a guy in the second unit. And now they got their guy, 6'2". I'm not sure how healthy he is though, because he did miss a lot of time with Detroit because he earned all his playoff experience with the Nuggets.
With Denver, yeah.
Right. So, that being said, that's great. I'm gonna go half glass. It's a bad what?
No, I was gonna say that's just a bad team injury. Like I'm hurt because I'm on a bad team.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
He was coming home. No. That was supposed to be. Remember, he's from Flint, Michigan. He was like Mr. Michigan something in over there in Detroit.
Him and Kyle Kuzma grew up together.
So he was supposed to come home over there, be like get the whole LeBron acronym coming home, Carmelo fake. I'm coming home to Brooklyn. He was supposed to be doing that with Michigan, with the Detroit Pistons a little bit. So Minnesota is. I think they've added a great piece to that. But now Ant-Man has graduated to the Jason Tatum level where, bro, you're a superstar. You're a superstar. No more excuses. Crunch time, nobody's saying this. Ant-Man, you're a dud when it comes to crunch time.
AllBall.
Okay, 22-year-old. Okay, 22-year-old Anthony Edwards. Be a dud in crunch time right now. That's okay. You'll be fine.
Either way, that's my critique about the Timberwolves right now. If they're going to be the best team in the league, you got Monte Morris to secure these possessions. You need Ant-Man to close out. He missed the game-winning shot against the Nuggets in the first round last year. They could have gone to game 6 and won 2 games. They were the toughest team that the Nuggets played according to Bruce Brown last season throughout the playoffs, all of them. But this season, I saw it again. He called out SGA, which I love. He called him out, and he's basically setting up for the playoffs. Like I said this earlier on the 4 Sportsmen. He's telling the refs and he's telling the league, these BS calls you're giving SGA right now, I don't want to see him in the playoffs because we D up, and so do they. But we're not giving him anything. He's SGA, we get it. Don't give him any calls. Call it free. But I also need to see you in crunch time, Ant-Man, and his numbers don't look good. I don't have him with me, but I know for a fact Ant-Man is not performing in crunch. He just doesn't. I don't want to hear that he's 22 because we can't keep saying that he's Ant-Man. You know, you can't have a nickname. You're the number one team in the league. The microscope is on you. D Wade came in the league. He was tough. Michael Jordan, all these guys came in the league. They were perimeter players. If you're not clutch, we see it. We forgive the big man for not being clutch. The perimeter players create their own shots better. So Ant-Man, they're gonna go as far as he is as he comes up big time in the big moments for me so far. That's what I see with him.